Brother Sunny, you can go ahead. Thank you so much.
My parents divorced when I was 5, and I ended up living with my mom. And the great thing was I had a lot of family and friends who supported me, and everyone was always there for me, and I'll always be grateful for that. But the one thing that now I look back on that really I was denied was when I cried or when I was sad, I was always told, don't cry, don't be sad, everything's gonna be okay. And I know everyone meant well in the moment when they were telling me that. But what that did was it denied such a huge part of myself, a part where I was hiding from struggle, from sadness, from pain, from coping with my parents' divorce. And unfortunately, I would pay for that in my later years. When I graduated high school, I really didn't have a plan because, like I said, a lot of people supported me. They didn't let me fail. So I really didn't have confidence to stand on my own 2 feet and pursue great things in life. So it took me about 3 years, and I finally went to KPU, got a human resources degree. And through that journey and those early 20s, I started to gain confidence in myself. And obviously when you're that age, you're really into going out, into partying. And I was going out with my friends, with my cousins, and what I would find would happen a lot is after a few drinks, I would say to them, like, how could you do this to me when I was 10? How could you make fun of me? You know, like I would bring up so many things from the past. And to them, it was just like, whoa, Sonny's just drunk. He's having this emotional outburst. Like, leave him alone. I'd wake up the next day and, be so anxious. Like, oh my God, what did I say last night? Why did I say that? It was almost like what I had said last night was not even me. That's what I thought. But it was really me, what I was feeling inside. And it was only through, unfortunately, when I was getting intoxicated that this was coming out. So, I would sometimes, it damaged a lot of my relationships at that time because it was like, who is this Sonny? Like, he just has these emotional outbursts. I don't want to be around him. And everyone just telling me, like, just, don't drink anymore, drink less, right? And I thought that's what I need to do, but that really wasn't solving the root cause. And I just started to believe that maybe it's just because I drank a lot, that's why this was happening, and I just need to avoid those situations and just not have these emotional outbursts. Like, let it be, let it go. So that's what I thought I had to do. But, through that whole journey, I just, looking back on it now, there would be random days where for no apparent reason, I'd be angry, I'd be sad, I'd feel resentful towards something maybe that happened when I was 7 or 10 or 12, random stuff like that. And I had that kind of mindset at that time in my university years that, hey, that's okay. I'm going to use this as adversity. I'm going to use this as fuel to motivate myself. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think when you are down and out, it's good to use that as fuel to motivate yourself to work even harder. But I still do think you need to address what's going on underneath. Otherwise, it's going to keep coming up. And I think it was mentioned earlier that, it's going to, what you're feeling inside, eventually it's going to come to the surface. Like I always, in my coaching, I say to my clients, when you suppress your emotions, either you address them or they will address you. It's going to come up one way or another. And sometimes it's not obvious when they come up. So in the last, I would say it's been about 4 years, I started to go to therapy. And, I don't know if amazing is the right word, but the thing was, the reason I went to therapy was because the job I had was really, really stressful. And obviously we had an employee assistance program, it was free, so I was like, hey, why don't I try this? It's confidential, it's anonymous, no one's gonna know. And it's really amazing because throughout going to those sessions, the sessions had nothing to do with the job and the stress. It was all the pain I experienced and the lack of coping with my parents' divorce and just being bullied, being picked on, not being able to stand up for myself. That was finally all talked about. I was holding it in for 25 plus years, and finally I talked about it. It wasn't easy for sure. It was hard. There was times after a session I was shaking, I was crying, I Like I feel like I got ran over by something. It was very tough. But once I started to rise from that, I realized like, wow, I was denying such an authentic part of myself. A part where it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have arguments with people in your relationships. It's okay to, if someone upset you or hurt you, to stand up for yourself and say, hey, if you're going to treat me that way, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. It's okay to do these things and not just hide from them. So I just said that I owe it to myself to live this authentic life. And along that journey, there were some people, family and friends, who said, like, who do you think you are, Sonny? Who do you think you are? And that was tough. It was very hard for me not to pull back and hide from all this. But it took some time, it took some development, and then eventually people just realized, hey, this is just who Sonny is now. And fortunately, I haven't lost any family as a result of that. I haven't lost any friends as a result of that. So it's been really great in that sense. As I look back on that journey and think of the stigma, there was just so much cultural stigma associated, and there still is today in our community. For one, crying is frowned upon. And trust me, I still struggle with it. Sometimes I watch some TV shows that my wife sometimes makes me watch, and there's some emotional scenes in there. I have to sometimes go like this. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So it's just like these emotional things that come out, and it's still sometimes hard for me to realize that it's okay to cry. And it's okay. It's not a big deal. So yeah, crying is definitely frowned upon, especially for men. Talking about your emotions makes it seem like something's wrong with you. There's this image that a male is supposed to have it all together, not cry, not show emotion. But really, like, if you listen, like, from what I've been saying, like, you're hiding so much of your authentic self, and it's so damaging. The other thing is, throughout my journey, I did have some family and friends that supported me, and there were some that didn't. People would just say, oh, like, tough it up, don't be a wimp, don't be weak, just be strong, or, even worse, some would say just have a few drinks and you'll be fine, right? So that's still prevalent in our community today. And I think there's also too much of an emphasis on the what and not the why. For example, you might hear someone say, stop drinking, stop doing drugs, stop being sad, stop being angry, stop yelling. But where is, why are you drinking? Why are you turning to drugs? Why are you sad? Why are you angry? And I'm not saying every single person's in a position to help someone, but that should still be explored, and it never is. I'm so glad I reached out for help. It really changed my perspective on the cultural mindset that there is when it comes to mental health and stigma within our community. And it helped me unlock an authentic part of myself, and a part where I take pride in wearing my emotions on my sleeve. And sometimes it might make my friends uncomfortable, because sometimes I'll ask them, like, hey, how are you feeling? What are you thinking about? And sometimes they're like, okay, Sonny, we don't want to have an emotional conversation today. So that happens to me sometimes, because now I'm just in love with talking about emotions. I'm in love with wearing my emotions on my sleeve and leaving it all out there for everyone to see and experience. I'm sure now you can kind of put the connection together, or why I'm a coach, why I'm an outreach worker. It has a lot to do with my personal experience. And in my role at SACH, South Asian Community Hub, we help individuals that experience similar situations to I have, or maybe more extreme situations where it was more addiction-based. And again, I'm not trying to compare situations, but what I'm essentially trying to say is we support individuals who don't know where to turn to. They want to get help, but they don't know where to go. There's a stigma associated with getting help. So as an outreach worker, we connect with these individuals, and we have many organizations that we can link them to. For example, outside, there's a table for Moving Forward Family. They offer counseling services. So, if Sonny of 7 years came to them now and said, like, okay, Sonny of today, sorry, I don't mean to confuse you. If Okay, say I'm 33 today. Let's say the 24-year-old Sonny came to 33 and said, Sonny, I need some help. I need to talk to someone about counseling. Who can I go to? Moving Forward Family. So that's kind of what we do, is we link them with, based on what their individual need is, we linked them to different organizations. That's really all I had today, and I just hope in sharing my journey, the struggles I went through, and embracing, showing my authentic self to all of you. Hopefully this helps other people do the same thing. Thank you so much.